magnetic field lines around the bar magnet. So this is north, this is south. We know that the magnetic field line starts from north and outside the magnet and move into the south pole. So this is the direction of magnetic field line outside the magnet. Inside, they move from south to north pole so that they form closed continuous curves. Okay, and like this. Okay. Moving out and moving in. So this is how you can draw the magnetic field line around a bar magnet. Okay. So some of you have made mistakes at this place. South, they have shown it coming out, and mainly the direction has been the problem with some of the students who have not got full marks. So this is one question number one. And question number two is define electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction is the phenomena of induction of current in a coil or a circuit when magnetic field linked to that coil or circuit changes. Very simple. जब किसी कॉइल के साथ तो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड लिंक हो रहा है वो चेंज होता है तो उस कॉइल में करंट इंड्यूस हो जाता है. दैट इज कॉल्ड इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक इंडक्शन. So with change in magnetic field linked with a circuit or a coil, electricity is produced. So that is why it is called electromagnetic induction. The third question is, what is the solenoid? The solenoid is a coil of many turns. Made up of an insulated copper wire and such that the area of cross section of the coil is much smaller than the length of the coil, and it is wound in the form of a cylindrical form or in a helical form. So like your spring की तरह it is tightly wound spring, basically tightly wound spring of an insulated copper wire becomes a solenoid. So a coil of many turns made up of an insulated copper wire, and it is wound in the form of helix. You can say it is wound in the form of cylinder, and the area of cross section of the solenoid is very small in comparison with the length of the solenoid, length of that cylindrical solenoid. So that is the third question. Fourth question was, state Fleming's left-hand rule and what is its utility? So Fleming's left-hand rule. Very simple rule it is. Stretch your left hand such that the first finger, central finger, and the thumb, they are perpendicular to each other. Then if the first finger points towards the magnetic direction of magnetic field, central finger points towards the direction of current, then the thumb will give us the direction of force acting on that conductor. Okay, force experienced by the conductor in the magnetic field. If we have a conductor in the magnetic field, current is flowing through that conductor, and then the direction of magnetic field given by first finger, and the direction of current flowing in the conductor is given by the second finger, then the thumb will give us the direction of force acting on that conductor. Suppose this is a conductor and the current is flowing like this. So this is the direction of current. Magnetic field is as shown. Suppose the magnetic field is along this direction, then the conductor will experience a force in this direction. Conductor will come up like this. That is the kind of force. So this is your Planning's left hand rule. Now what is the utility of this rule? We can use this rule to find out the direction of force acting on a current carrying conductor. And this is used in finding out the direction of motion of armature of electric motor. And rule, we can find out in which direction the armature of the electric motor will start rotating. So that is your fourth question. And the fifth question was, what are magnetic field lines? So magnetic field line, magnetic field line is a curve around a magnet or a current carrying coil such that the tangent at any point on the magnetic field line gives the direction of magnetic field at that point. So this is the direction of magnetic field. So if straight, it may be curved around any magnet. Wherever there is a magnet, there will be magnetic field. And the magnetic field can be imagined with the help of these imaginary magnetic field lines. And the property of this line is such that if we know the line, magnetic field line around a magnet or a current carrying coil, and we want to find out the magnetic field at any point. Suppose at point P, we want to find out the direction of magnetic field. Then this P is lying on this curve. We draw a tangent at point P. So direction of the tangent will give us the direction of magnetic field. Suppose this magnetic field line is like this. And we want to find out the direction at Q also. So we'll draw a tangent at Q like this. So this will give us the direction of magnetic field at point Q. Okay. So this is how you define magnetic field line. Now another part was, how can you find out the direction of magnetic field line in a magnetic field? So you can use very simply a compass needle. So place a compass needle wherever you want to, at any point where you want to find out the direction of magnetic field. The north end of the needle will point towards the direction of magnetic field. If north is pointing like this, so this is the direction of magnetic field. If the compass is pointing like this, and this is north and this is south, then this is the direction of magnetic field. So by placing a compass at that point and checking whether in which direction the north pole is pointing, you can find out the direction of magnetic field at that point. Okay, and also by, if you know the line, magnetic field line on which that point exists, then draw a tangent at that point and you will find out the direction of magnetic field. Okay, the seventh question was, yes, your electric motor. So electric motor, you must remember this, that some of you have made good diagrams, but some have not made proper diagrams. Okay, so you need to make proper diagrams. Okay, electric motor. I very quickly draw the diagram. So these are the field magnets, north and south, which provide the magnetic field, and there's an armature in between the two field magnets. It is made up of insulated copper wire. It may be 1 ton, it may be many tons. And this armature is connected to two split rings like this. So show good size of the ring. Some of you have shown very small and it is not understood clearly. So these are two rings and the rings are attached to these carbon or carbon brushes or just brushes. Okay, so इस तरह से बड़े ब्रश बनाइए and these are basically just touching the split ring, just in contact with the split ring, but not fixed with the split ring. And then electricity, the source of electricity can be a battery, and that is it. This is the diagram, very simple diagram it is. So it is split ring 1, split ring 2, brush 1, brush 2, and this is armature, and these are field magnets, and that's it. So this is the direction of current going like this. Okay. So this is a very simple diagram of electric motor. Now, the question was asked, what is the principle of electric motor? The principle on which electricity is based is that whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So here also we have this armature A, B, C, D. So this is a conductor basically, and it is carrying current. So when this is carrying current, this is the direction of magnetic field. So you can find out the direction of force acting on this AB. So by Fleming's left hand rule, direction of magnetic field, direction of current, and the force will be downward. See? So this is the direction of magnetic field, this is the direction of current, and thumb is pointing downwards. So this will be going inside. You find out the direction of force on CD. So again, magnetic field, direction of current is from C to D, force will be upward. Okay, so you have this force, this is forcing it in the downward direction, this is on down. Will happen. So this will go in, this will move up. So this is how it will rotate up. Then this will come at this place, S2 will be attached to, will be in contact with B1 after half rotation. S1 will be in contact with B2. Now in CD, the current will flow like this. When the CD comes here, so CD will come here and we will reach here. Then what will happen? Then again on CD, the force will be downward direction, and on AB, the force will be in the upward direction. Again, it will rotate in the same direction. So that is how you can show the working of electric motor. तो CD अब फिर नीचे जाएगा, ये ऊपर जाएगा.
तो इस तरह से you can explain the working of electric motor. So I hope this is all clear to you, and next time when you sit for the exam, whenever you give your tests, be very careful, understand the questions carefully, and then answer the questions.
Series, parallel, combination of resistors. Okay, so practically we find that the resistors are connected in mixed combination, that is series as well as parallel combination. So what it will look like this. Suppose we have one resistor connected like this, another, then we have like this. So you can go on like this. Across a battery, a key, and this is it. Okay, this simple circuit. Suppose this is R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, and R6. So this is the current flowing. So here you need to recognize which ones are in parallel and which ones are in series. So you can see between these 2 points A and B, we have resistor R1, R2 and R3. All have 3 different paths. Okay? And one end of each of these is connected to a single point. The other end of each of these is connected to another single point. So these are in parallel. So these 3 are in parallel. So R1 parallel to R2 parallel to R3. Okay. Now suppose this point is C and this point is D. Then between C and D we have R4 and R5. So one end of each is connected to C, the other end is connected to D. So we can again, these are in parallel. So R4 and is parallel with R5. Now R6 between D and E is single resistor. But this single resistor is connected in series with this combination of parallel resistors, and this also combination of these parallel resistors is connected in series with this combination and this single resistor. So this combination, if we find out the equivalent resistance of this and equivalent resistance of this, then the equivalent resistance of these R1, R2 and R3 is in series with equivalent resistance of R4 and R5 and is in series with R6. Okay, so we can say that these are in parallel. And now let us find out the equivalent resistance. So RP1, let us say RP1 is the equivalent resistance of these resistors connected in parallel. So how to find out RP1? 1 upon RP1 will be given by 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So this is how you find out the value of RP1. Okay, so we can replace this by single resistor whose value is RP1. Now finding out this, so 1 upon RP2, 1 upon R4 plus 1 upon R5. So you can find out RP2, that is the equivalent resistance of this. So let us draw a simplified circuit. So replace with RP1 the 3 resistors connected in parallel between A and B. Replace with resistor RP2 because this RP2 is doing the same work as the combination of these 2 resistors. So suppose this is C point, this is D point between C and D, and then we have R6 between D and E. So we have simplified the circuit. Okay, now you see the current, same current is flowing through all these, and these are connected one after the other. So these are in series. So RP1, RP2 and R6 are in series. So how to find out the combination, the equivalent of the combination? RS will be equal to RP1 plus RP2 plus R6. So this RS will become the equivalent resistance of the combination, in mixed combination between A and E. इस सब के बीच में हम सिंगल रजिस्टर से इसको रिप्लेस कर देंगे, तो क्या होगा? अगर ये अकेला रजिस्टर लगा देंगे तो उतना ही करंट मिलेगा सर्किट में जितना पहले वाले केस में मिल रहा था. So we say that this is the equivalent resistance of the mixed combination of resistors connected together. So that is your series parallel combination of resistors.
Now let us move on. Heating effect of electric current. Heating effect of electric current. We know that whenever we switch on an electrical device like heater or a bulb, the bulb that we used to use, that is incandescent bulb, then these devices become hot. Okay. So this means whenever electric current flows through metallic conductor, that means a filament of bulb, then heat is produced. So in electric heater and in electric bulbs and all the other appliances, they get heated up somehow or the other when electric current is passed through them. That means when electric current flows through a conductor, heat is generated. Okay. So what is happening here basically? Electric energy that is being supplied by the battery is converting into heat energy, because heat to be generated, energy is required. So where is the energy coming from? Coming from the electric energy of the battery or a cell. And how heat is generated, let us understand this. We know that a conductor, suppose this is the image of a large image of a conductor. So in a conductor we have free electrons which are moving about randomly. Now when electric current is made to flow with the help of potential difference applied across the two ends. So this is A end and this is B end. So current I flow like this. Then the electrons start flowing in the direction opposite to the direction of the current. We know that electrons start flowing from low potential, that is negative end of the battery, to the positive end. So when they flow, they do not get a free path. So they collide with each other, as well as they collide with the ions or atoms present in the body of the conductor. Okay. So and when they collide with these, because they are moving, they have kinetic energy, and they transfer their kinetic energy to the atoms or ions present in the conductor. So how are atoms and ions present in the conductor? So they are all the time vibrating to and fro at their positions, about the mean position. So that is how atoms and ions behave in any conductor at normal temperature. So they are moving like this every time. Now when an electron hits them, collides with them, it gives its kinetic energy to it, and they start vibrating with larger amplitude. मतलब वो अगर वो पहले इतने इतने स्पैन में वाइब्रेट कर रहे थे, फिर उनका स्पैन जो है वो वाइब्रेशन का बढ़ जाता है. तो दिस increase in energy shows up, this vibration of larger amplitude shows up in the form of heat. तो जब वो वाइब्रेशन जो है लार्ज एम्पलीट्यूड से वाइब्रेट करते हैं अपनी जगह पे, तो वो हीट एनर्जी में की फॉर्म में शो करता है. अगर आप भी अगर एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लें, अगर आप अगर आपकी मूवमेंट ज़्यादा हो जाए तो आपकी मूवमेंट जो है उसकी वजह से आपका बॉडी टेम्परेचर जो है हीट अप हो जाता है, आपको गर्मी लगने लगती है, क्योंकि हीट एनर्जी में आपका मूवमेंट कन्वर्ट हो जाता है. तो लगभग इसी तरह से ये जो मूवमेंट ऑफ एटम्स एंड आयंस है, जो वाइब्रेशन है, ये मूवमेंट बढ़ जाता है, इस वजह से वो हीट की फॉर्म में शो कर देता है. इसलिए हीट बढ़ जाती है और कंडक्टर जो है उसका टेम्परेचर फिर बढ़ जाता है. So that is how heat is generated. The basic reason for generation of heat is the collision of electrons with the other electrons as well as with the ions or atoms present in the body of the conductor. And because of this collision, electrons give their kinetic energy to the atoms. The atoms start vibrating with larger amplitude, and this shows up in the form of heat in the conductor. So that is how heat energy is generated. So that is how electric energy, because who is supplying energy to the electrons? The battery or a cell. So this is basically electric energy. So electric energy is being converted into heat energy. So that is how the heat is generated when current is passed through the conductor. Amount of heat produced in a conductor when a current flows through it. Now suppose we have a conductor AB, two ends A and B are connected to a cell which is providing potential difference V through a key. So this potential difference applied by this will be same as potential difference between points A and B. So this is the current flowing I in this direction. So therefore electrons will flow through any cross section of the conductor in this direction. So these are electrons. Okay. Now if V is the potential difference applied, we know the relation potential difference is equal to work done per unit charge. We have studied this in electric potential. So W is the amount of work done in moving a charge of any value from say point B, from one end to the other, from point B to A or A to B. If we consider positive charge, then from A to B. If we consider electrons, then from B to A. Then we can say that V is equal to W upon Q. So that means if work done is given by W in carrying a charge Q from one end of the conductor to the other end of the conductor, then W upon Q will give us the potential difference, because potential difference is the work done per unit charge in moving that charge from one end to the other, from one point to the other. So we are finding out work done per unit charge. So Q, if Q is the charge that has been moved with the help of the work done, which is equal to W, then V will be equal to W upon Q. So W is equal to V multiplied by Q. So work done is equal to potential difference applied across the two ends of the conductor multiplied by charge that has moved from one end to the other. Okay, now if I is the current flowing for time t, so for time t the current is flowing, that is